Donald Trump indicted and arraigned for the second time. And so we all knew this day was coming, but here it is. He showed up, he got arraigned. This was the second time, but this is a different level. This is the federal government now actively going against Joe Biden's political opponent, right? So this is the moment. You could say the argument there evaporates with Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg's not running against Donald Trump. Joe Biden is. And his Justice Department just crossed that threshold, something that's never been done before. And now they'll turn around and say, well, it's Donald Trump. And so, of course, it's never been done before because we've never had a president like Donald Trump. He's so bad. What was so bad? What did he do? Some boxes in his Mar-a-Lago residence. All right. And if we compare and contrast that to the litany of other people who are also presidential candidates who also did things massively worse than that, the standards seem unfair. We're supposed to be on the same team. No matter what you think of the other side, we're supposed to be on Team America, not at team each other's throats. But that's where we're at now. And they want to imprison Trump, and they're prosecuting him in the federal courts. And this is just the beginning. I think that the D.C. filings are going to be much worse. And they're also going to be another Georgia set of filings, which I'm sure will come out too. And so the fragilities, the exposure points continue to increase. But now that the federal government is involved, it's all got cover. They extend their big arms. They extend the entire weight of the Justice Department behind their efforts. And it's Joe Biden prosecuting his number one threat in this country. It's a shocking thing that has happened. It's shocking to me that more Senate Republicans and other people in positions of power aren't outraged about it, but they're blinded by their hatred of Trump. They just think that if he's removed, everything can go back to normal and the old grift will get right back on track. So they just scurry away and cower like little weenies in the corner, not playing while this gigantic scam, this corrupt prosecution unfolds before our eyes. So we have to set the level on that before we dive in, because this is historic. This is the day Trump arrives for his federal prosecution in Miami. And C-SPAN was there. A ton of media was there. There were protesters, but I saw some numbers and headlines that were saying that there was maybe as many media as there were protesters there. This is what it sounded like. On the scene, you can see they're at 3rd Street and something, the Trump motorcade making its way through. We got some cheers, and it looks like they're going into a garage. It's an underground garage where the media did not have access to. And so people were wondering if they were going to see Trump walk out, but the answer is no, because they went underground. Not much more activity there. You see a little bit more movement as the cars move around. And so, interesting scene as people showed up. Now, as the day unfolded, there were more and more people who appeared. There were some protesters. There were some counter-protesters. But Alina Abba, she came out and she delivered a fiery statement. And Fox News picked it up. And the media was getting blamed on Twitter because the people on Twitter were saying, why are you platforming Alina Abba? It's because she's a very brilliant legal commentator. Hello.
Member of Trump's legal team representative.
Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden himself retained possession of classified documents that have not been prosecuted. And none of them came into possession of those documents while they were president. None of them were president, who as the head and sole member of the executive branch has the power to summarily declassify documents. The decision to pursue charges against President Trump while turning a blind eye to others is emblematic of the corruption that we have here.
Right on,
we are at
Alina.
a turning point in our nation's history. The targeting, prosecution of a leading political opponent is the type of thing you see in dictatorships like Cuba and Venezuela.
That's true.
It is commonplace there for rival candidates to be prosecuted, persecuted, and put into jail. What is being done to the President Trump should terrify all citizens of this country.
It does.
These are not the ideals that our democracy is founded upon.
It does. It does terrify me. It terrifies the heck out of me because Trump has unlimited resources, essentially, relative to the rest of us. Trump can weather this storm because he has a huge, gigantic portion of America at his back. But you know who doesn't? Everybody else. Anybody else. Pick somebody who wants to start a nonprofit, who wants to go challenge the government and speak out against them or anything. And they want to speak truth to power. And the DOJ comes to breathe down their neck. And they say, oh, you've done something illegal. People don't have resources to fight back against this stuff. And so Trump does. But it's the dam, right? If Trump falls on this and the FBI and the DOJ and the Biden administration have their way, do you think they just stop with Trump? Oh, okay, I guess we're just going to use this power that we now have and just return it back into the drawer like we're never going to use it again? No. It will be open season on every Republican, which is why it's been so embarrassing that they have been cowering and not responding to this, because it's their own livelihood that's on the line here.
This is not our America. Thank you.
What's happening right now inside the courthouse? Has he been arrested? Has he been fingerprinted? Has a mugshot been taken? Walk us through what's happening here now.
President Trump is in a very unique position where he doesn't need to be given a mugshot, obviously. He's not a flight risk. He is the leading candidate of the GOP at the moment. He is going through a process that has been coordinated with Secret Service, and it will all be handled seamlessly.
All right, Alina Abba with a nice statement out there telling us what a corrupt joke this whole thing is. And of course, she's dead right about it. And we also want to know what happened at the arraignment. The New York Times had probably, 1,000 reporters there, as usual, salivating over this. And it's a big deal. This is what they've been waiting for. I mean, literally. Here is the latest. Former Trump, they say, pleaded not guilty from the New York Times in federal court in Miami on Tuesday to criminal charges that he risked the disclosure of secrets. After arriving from his nearby Doral resort, Trump was booked and escorted to the 13th floor courtroom of the Wilkie Ferguson Courthouse downtown Miami. Inside the courtroom, Mr. Trump, wearing a dark suit and a red tie, sat with his arms crossed at the defense table while the magistrate judge overseeing the hearing described the indictment. One of his lawyers, Todd Blanche, entered a plea on Mr. Trump's behalf, which is normal. The defense attorney will do the talking. Trump doesn't have to say anything. So they went in, they waived the reading. They said, Trump, you've been indicted on 37 counts. Do you want me to read all of them to you? The lawyer said, no, Your Honor, we waived the reading. Okay, and as to all 37 counts, how do you plead? And so Todd Blanche stood up there and he said, we most certainly enter a plea of not guilty. The judge said, okay. Now, nearly 2.5 years after leaving the White House, Trump, they say twice impeached, twice acquitted, I'd say, previously charged in an unrelated case, is still under investigation. Now, Trump's personal aide, Walt Nauta, who is charged with lying to investigators and scheming with Trump, also appeared before the judge, but did not enter a plea. Lawyer asked for a 2-week extension because he needed a local lawyer to sponsor him, right? So we've got separate attorneys for the two, which is, obviously great because you want no conflict of interest here. Now, this is going to be an interesting thing to continue to monitor. They're charged as co-defendants in this case, right? It's federal government, United States of America versus Trump and versus Nauta. And Nauta needs his own attorney to represent him because he's got his own interests. But something will be curious to see if they offer different plea deals, right? What happens in co-defendant cases, prosecutors get very squirrely about this, is they might threaten Nauta with his own lawyer with a major penalty, right? They'll say, listen, you're going to go to prison for 20 years unless you cooperate against Trump. So they're going to try to flip him even after this case has started and use the co-defendants against one another. They tried to do that before the case was even filed, but that's going to accelerate now. Now, currently they're on the same side, but the pressure will come to bear. They're going to try to crack these two apart. Magistrate judge who oversaw the hearing ordered Trump, don't discuss the case with your co-defendant or any other witnesses, common. The judge said he understood that two men must speak on a daily basis, but said anything related to the case, go through your lawyers. Trump was represented also by Christopher Keese, former Florida Solicitor General, and Mr. Blanche, prominent New York defense lawyer. Legal team has been in flux. Other two lawyers resigned shortly after the indictment, which was a bummer. I actually like James Trusty. I thought he was quite good. Mr. Smith, the special counsel, was also there. While Judge Goodman oversaw Tuesday's hearing, Mr. Trump's case has been assigned to Judge Eileen Cannon. She was great at the first outset of this scam. So after departing the courthouse, Trump stopped briefly at Versailles, a renowned Cuban restaurant, and greeted a crowd of supporters. He planned to travel back and deliver a statement later on Tuesday, which he will do later tonight. So this is really the proceeding, right? And it's not actually complicated. These are very, very quick. Oftentimes, if it's not the former president going through this, it's 5 minutes. I've done many arraignments, and they happen very quickly. It's typically a waive reading. You set new dates, and then you come back, and you'll have a lot more substantive stuff to attend to at those following dates. But you want to set release conditions, make sure somebody's not a danger to themselves, a danger to the community. They're not a flight risk. They're not, going to reoffend or do anything else that's harmful. And of course, Trump is not going to do anything. He's never been convicted of a crime his whole life until he became president and started to interfere with the Democrats. Then they decided to change that game a little bit. So very brief proceedings. We'll take a look and see if we can pin down when the new date is. But all said and done, they were in and out. And so here is what it looked like as Trump was leaving the scene. And there was something interesting that happened. We have a little bit of an insurrection on his exit.
This is the motorcade of the former president leaving the courthouse after he has just pleaded not guilty.
You recognize that voice?
What are you seeing from your vantage
There's
point?
Trump. See you, Trump.
Well, you could see here, Caitlin, all of the Trump supporters are now out on the street.
Where's jail guy?
For the former president here to pass by. You see here one of the SUVs. We believe he's in the third SUV or the middle SUV here. You could see, let's see if he's in this one, Caitlin. Yeah, there he is waving. He's waving. There he is. Thumbs up, Caitlin.
See you, Trump.
And you could see here.
We're going to get through this, buddy.
The Secret Service now pulling someone. The Secret Service after someone ran. And obviously now the Secret Service pushed some people back and the officers pushing people back.
Oh my God, did you see that?
Wow.
So chaos here, Caitlin.
Little chaos.
Which, it's probably not unexpected given the fact that there are no barricades here and many of the people have been able to stay on the street.
Wow, almost like a little insurrection.
What's that, Caitlin?
Was it clear to you if that was a Trump supporter or a counter-protester who ran out in front of the
Who was
motorcade?
that? Caitlin said, who was that? Who ran out in front of there? Was that a Trumper?
That's right. He's now on the ground there. You could see in our shot. He ran in front of the motorcade, and police are now holding him down and arresting him.
Oh.
But this is an individual. See,
Oh, he was running out in front of cars earlier.
What's going on here?
Oh, it's jail guy.
That's right, Caitlin. He was running in front of cars earlier. The police are now trying to...
Was that a pro-Trump guy in a jail suit?
I think we may have lost Shimon there, but obviously that's what
so.
you saw was the former president's motorcade exiting the courthouse. It's a bit chaotic there. Of course, there are not barricades keeping the people who have arrived here at the courthouse, been here for several hours, away from that. Obviously, this is the former president's motorcade leaving as he has just now departed the courthouse.
Yeah, I thought that guy's name was Clay Schmeps. Here, let's watch.
Here's the video. We can show you just a moment here.
Oh, and they speed up in the car, and the car even turned.
That individual was arrested.
Yeah.
We saw, or at least apprehended.
More people seem to start to try to run in.
Insurrection, man.
Because the entire perimeter was not secured in the same standard way that we see so often, and so people were allowed to get much closer. So, I mean, people at home should understand there are people walking through right now all over the place in an area that would normally be completely locked down.
And this is the person that rushed the vehicle being carried away by police. Let's go to Sam Brock. Sam, I don't know.
Yeah, he almost got taken out there. It's a nice little hit there by that Secret Service. Yeah, Clay Schmeps. Must have been a Clay Schmeps over there. Must have been related to, I don't know, related to somebody familiar with us. I don't know. Now, there was more Trump before he made his way back. As we heard, he did stop. He did pause for a moment of prayer, and this is what it looked like. Prayers for Trump as he makes his way out of Miami for the day's arraignment. And so there is going to be another court date scheduled. And of course, as soon as we get that date, we will make sure we have it scheduled as we continue to cover.